Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Max, and I gotta be honest with y'all. Contrary to popular belief, I am in no way, shape, or form a Tolkien scholar. Despite the fact that literally everyone on the internet is now calling themselves a Tolkien scholar or expert, trying to prove to the world that they're something more than they actually are, I know who and what I am. I'm someone who loves and enjoys Tolkien and his works. I've watched all the films, read all the books, and even researched and studied some of Tolkien's work in college. But the fact of the matter is, I'm still nothing more than just a fan. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've memorized every name of every elf, man, and dwarf known to walk Middle-earth, because there's just too much information out there to cram a lifetime's worth of knowledge into only a span of a few years of studying him. So like I said, though I'm no scholar, I still pride myself in being a fan. And what do fans do best? They talk about the thing that they love and the thing that they hate. They plaster their opinion on everything and anything that they can get their hands on because they love it. And they have a deep passion and connection with it. But the thing I want to talk about in today's video, specifically in reference to the Rings of Power Amazon show, is should fans be basing their criticism off of opinion or analysis? Opinion being a personal belief, judgment, or viewpoint formed towards something, and analysis being a detailed examination or inspection of the elements or structure of something. The answer is both. Both matter because both are honest and meaningful ways of expressing one's thoughts and critiques towards the subject matter. In a moment, I'll share a clip of Dr. Corey Olsen, the president of Signum University and a 13-year scholar of Tolkien's works, where he discusses the term crit-fick. Now, I've been watching Dr. Olsen for quite a while now and actually really enjoy his videos and classes. I think he's extremely passionate about his work and a very thoughtful and well-mannered individual. However, since the release of the Rings of Power Amazon trailer, I've had a bit of cause for concern with some of his lectures, specifically his most recent installment titled Other Minds and Hands, an open and friendly discussion on adaptation. But to be very clear, I have absolutely nothing wrong with his reasons for making this installment, because he says at the beginning of the video that he believes it is extremely important to discuss in a calm and rational manner the topic of adaptation, in which I completely agree with him on, especially with how toxic, explosive, and unproductive Twitter conversations can be. But as the lecture continues, he begins to assign rules as to how to have these discussions and conversations. Now, for context, Dr. Olsen created this term crit-fick in regards to how people tend to criticize art, and that it is a very dangerous and illegitimate form of engaging with that art.
Crit-fick, of course, is modeled on fanfic, right? But it's the evil version of fanfic. Fanfic is good. Fanfic is legitimate. It's a legitimate creative engagement with a beloved work. Crit-fick is not legitimate. Crit-fick is always to be avoided. Here's what crit-fick is. When you are trying to criticize, when you're analyzing something, when you're being critical of something, be very careful that you are only talking about the work itself and not making up a story about what was going on in the head of the author when they wrote it or produced it or whatever. If you are making observations and criticisms of the primary work itself, that is perfectly legitimate. And you are welcome to say anything you like about the Amazon trailer or anything else. I have my own criticisms of things that I've seen in the Amazon trailer. I do not love everything. What crit-fick is again, it's not criticizing the primary thing and instead making up a story about the motivations or ideas of the people who did it. So when you watch the Amazon trailer and say, they're trying to push their politics on us, you're doing crit-fick. You're absolutely doing crit-fick. You don't know.
So there are a few things I want to address here. First, I think it's unfair to assume that everyone, as he says, is making up stories about what is going on in the head of the author. In this case, the Amazon showrunners. It's true that one may never know what someone's honest intention or thought process is, but that's why myself and tons of other fans are basing our opinions off of the actions and words of these showrunners, most notably stated in the Vanity Fair articles. For example, executive producer Lindsay Weber states, "It only felt natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like." Or this quote from Patrick McKay asking, "Can we come up with the novel Tolkien never wrote and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now?" Both of these quotes have left fans concerned about the inference and level of adaptation and deviation that strays too far from Tolkien's original mythology. We've seen this same concern with Tolkien's son, Christopher, as he is famously protective about adaptations to his father's work, fearing commercialization at every turn. So even if we were trying to analyze the trailer on its own, I think it's fair to say that people are going to bring their unconscious biases while viewing it because of what they have read previously and what they know about the show so far. But if Dr. Olson is saying that in order to properly analyze something, we need to compartmentalize each thing individually, like the trailer or the posters or the articles, it would be folly, because these are all pieces that make up a larger whole, which is the show. So once again, myself and countless other fans are not trying to make these stories up in order to push a certain narrative, and I don't think that analysis should take place solely on the work itself with no other outside influences or context. Second, he discusses the topic of legitimacy, and why crit-fick is completely illegitimate. But why should my opinion be less valid than someone else's analysis just because they might be a scholar or professor on the subject? Just because I'm not meticulously analyzing and picking something apart doesn't mean that my argument is less valid. I have every right to not like something based off of the way that I feel, and based off of my thoughts and opinions regarding the whole of someone's work, and not just the work itself. And I have every right to express that concern publicly. This gets back to the topic of opinion versus analysis. I can have an opinion on something and simply say that I don't like it because of these reasons, and I can still be just as valid as someone giving an in-depth analysis on why someone should like it. And sometimes it can just be as simple as like, it just looks bad, or it sounds bad. It may not hold up in a court of law, but it's still your opinion. Everyone is subject to their own opinion and should feel free to express it without condemnation, as long as it is said with thoughtfulness, authenticity, and sincerity. So though I don't think there should necessarily be rules based on how you analyze something, I do think something can be more or less valid by how you express your analysis about something. Because once you start hating something to be a troll or liking something to be a shill with no evidence to back up your talking points, that is when your argument becomes invalid. So with that being said, I don't think someone's criticism is more or less legitimate based off their actual opinion, but rather how that opinion is expressed. No one wants to listen to a rambling idiot no matter how valid their points are. So I think it's always best to speak with thoughtfulness, authenticity, and sincerity when expressing your opinion. I promise it'll go much farther in the long run. The last clip I have in regards to analysis is when Dr. Olson concerns Tolkien's text related to the Rings of Power teaser trailer.
We have a primary text. You have the trailer. And if you think it's bad, by all means, tell me, show me what's bad about it, right? But when you look at it and you say, it's bad, and I say, why is it bad? And you say, it's bad because they're pushing their politics on me. You've said nothing at all about the trailer. All you've said is something about what you guess or fear or dread or speculate is the motivation behind making the movie. And you don't know, and you'll never know.
This is where he totally loses me, because how am I supposed to analyze a trailer that has virtually no text to support it? The showrunners have said it themselves. The only things that they have access to are the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, the Return of the King, which includes the appendices, and the Hobbit. Which means that the characters that they are creating from the appendices, roughly only about 150 pages of material, are all made up. In the teaser trailer, we see 8 characters of note, the only ones known to us being Galadriel, Elrond, Gil-galad, and Durin IV. but the other 4, the mortal castaway Halbrand, the dwarven princess Diza, the sylvan elf Arondir, and the Harfoot hobbit Eleanor Nori Brandyfoot, are all made-up characters that we've never seen or heard before. So how am I supposed to provide an analysis on a made-up story and essentially a made-up fanfiction? I can analyze it coming from a film standpoint and talk about the production design, the costume design, the cinematography, what have you. But if I say I don't like the new Sylvan Elf Arondir, and then you ask that I provide the text to support why I don't like him, I can't do that. And let me drive the point home. I can't do that because he's a made-up character, and therefore has no text to support his existence, hence erasing all valid criticism, which is extremely convenient considering that that's most likely what Amazon wants. The less criticism, the better. And though you may think that Dr. Olson would say, I'm making up a story about what is going on in the head of the showrunners at Amazon, I'm not making up a story, because myself and countless other fans have seen what happens when we express our criticism towards Amazon's work. We become insignificant and are completely ignored and labeled as racist and sexist without actually having our concerns addressed or acknowledged. Take this tweet, for example, by theonering.net. Homophobia, racism, and misogyny have no place in the Lord of the Rings fandom. 20 years ago, they claimed Ian McKellen's gay Gandalf would ruin Tolkien's Catholic legacy. Sounded stupid then, and still does. Same types of people making ignorant comments now get a swift block and ban. Then this tweet from /film. Oh, shame. It seems racist won't be able to watch the new Lord of the Rings TV show. Or this quote from the Vanity Fair article said, Mariana Rios Maldonado. Obviously, there's going to be pushback and backlash. But the question is, from who? Who are these people that feel so threatened or disgusted by the idea that an elf is black or Latino or Asian? So it is extremely clear that these people do not take our concerns seriously, because if they did, they would have responded to our criticisms with thoughtfulness, authenticity, and sincerity. So to kind of summarize everything up, whether or not you talk about something utilizing your opinion or your analysis, know that your voice matters and that you can speak with confidence, because you never know how that may impact someone listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like it, please consider supporting me by subscribing to the channel, sharing it with others, and donating to the Stream Elements link below. Every donation goes right back into the show to provide better material, better and more frequent uploads, and overall just better production value. Another huge thank you to all my fans and subscribers for your constant love and support. I humbly say that I could not do this without you. That's all I have for now, and I will see you guys in the next video.